Lecha Adonai Hagadol v'Hagevura v'Hatiferet v'Hanetzach v'Hahod Ki Cho b'Shamayim u'va'aretz Ki Cho b'Shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai HaMamlacha v'Hamitnaseh l'chol.
This is the first of a 5-part series on some of the anomalies of a Torah scroll. We have in front of us 1/5 of the 5 books of Moses open, the book of Genesis, Bereshit in Hebrew, a little bit of an introduction in terms of the scroll itself. Parchment is the material, hand calligraphied by a scribe, sofer in Hebrew, in a very elaborate Hebrew script with no vocalization, no punctuation. It's clear, even close up, that the scribe has drawn guidelines with the quill pen so that he gets his letters to be roughly the same size. Okay, I'll be using a pointer called a yad in Hebrew because we don't touch the text with our hands. Yad is the Hebrew word for hand, and there is a pointed finger on the end of this silver yad, which is what's traditionally used when someone reads from the Torah. So in looking at the books of the Torah, beginning with Genesis, we are looking not so much in this series at the content as we are at anomalies of the written calligraphy Torah scroll. The book of Genesis covers, of course, from the creation of the world through the story of Joseph and his brothers. And as we begin to look closer at the calligraphied scroll, we see these following anomalies. The first letter in the scroll, which is a Hebrew letter Bet, is enlarged, larger than all of the rest of the letters. Other large letters at different points. Here's a large Resh. Here's a large Tav. Often these letters are enlarged only to fill the column when there's not enough letters to complete that. But sometimes they have midrashic significance, interpretive significance. Let's also, as we go, point out a couple of names. Here's Noah. We move a little bit further along. We'll come to Avram, Sarai. A little bit later, their names are changed, and we come to Avraham. Okay, now I'd like to show you something very fascinating and unusual. Right here we see a word that has dots over each of the letters. These are called diacritical marks or Aristarchian signs, and it's very interesting to note that the same kinds of notations are used by the Greek grammarians in Alexandria in the works of Homer. The dots, for example, indicate that a word is not necessarily taken literally. So here in this case, we have the reunion of Jacob and Esau, where the dots are over the word and Esau kissed him, meaning to the rabbis that it wasn't a legitimate kiss. According to one midrash, he bit him. According to others, it was a kiss, but not a sincere kiss of apology. We move on to something that you'll very rarely see, because this is not anything that's in the vast majority of Torah scrolls. This is a correction, a scribal correction. Notice it's a word in the margin. If you look at all the other margins and surrounding margins in this and every other Torah, they are clear. But here's the word ani. We notice that this word was missing in this Torah after years of reading from it. Some very observant reader noticed that the word was totally missing. And there was no place we could put it in a line, so we put it in the margin. If you'll note in this particular column, we have 4 blank lines. That's the indicator that one book of the Torah has ended, in this case the book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis, and a new book is beginning, in this case Exodus or Shemot in Hebrew.
Romamu, Romamu, Adonai Eloheinu, Vehishtachavu, Vehishtachavu, La